Welcome back to the Vainglory China Invitational. I'm Wolf. With me is Valdez. We saw MusTang dominate their series 2-0, even having a comeback in their first game, and then their second game looking really, really strong. And they are now going to play against our new team, Delta, in our second match of the afternoon.
Yeah, I'm not sure how good Delta is. We're going to have to wait and see. As always, have not heard much about this team. They don't have really any information about when the team was formed, what they've done. So that leads me to believe that we may be seeing another IDO-type team. I don't want that to happen, but it's possible. And after seeing the way that MusTang played.
Sure. I mean, you also look at their bio, and they're like, well, we're a team. We make the triangle. That's why we're Delta.
Seems like they're really stretching a bit.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's like, well, I don't know. Does that really tell us much about you? We'll have to find out because, I mean, anything goes in this tournament with these new players. Let's introduce some of these players. Speaking of Raichu, is going to be our first player, our lane player, who also has Taka listed as one of his lane heroes.
Yeah, Taka Celeste. Interesting couple of heroes there. On our sheet, it says Ringo Glaive Adagio. So I guess things have changed since then.
Yeah.
But regardless, that is Raichu, and here is his friend, also on the same team. His name is, in the black Vainglory jacket,
It's Pikachu. Pikachu did have a sign in the crowd, and I would say that Delta seems to be, based on what we've seen so far from crowd reactions, one of the more popular teams in China, which is one of the reasons why I wouldn't say count them out. They say don't count them out yet. You know, I don't know if this is necessarily going to be one of those IDO situations. They have really funny names, of course, Pikachu, Raichu, and their third player here, Hope, who is their all-around player.
Spoiled it, Wolf.
I spoiled it, man. Ringo is listed as well as Arden and Catherine on our info sheet, so maybe he's taken Ringo away. He's got a really handsome profile picture as well. Doesn't really look like him. He's like in his game mode right now.
That's not nice, Wolf.
That's not what I meant. I'm sorry.
I'm just disappointed by his name. It should be Pichu, right? And he should be on the left. It should be Pichu, Pikachu, Raichu. I mean, isn't that the way the world works, Wolf? I don't understand anything anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. They added all sorts of new Pokemon like Plissu and Minu and stuff like that. I don't know how about anything anymore.
I don't even know what those are, man.
So, well, we are going to jump into this first game draft in just a moment as these players get into the lobby. Hope, Pikachu, and AAA Anthony. That's not AAA Anthony. That's Raichu.
What? They like quickly
crowd
take
is
it
like,
down. They're like, what? It's not the same
He
guy.
can't play for two teams?
Whoa.
So, oopsie daisy, somebody pressed the wrong button. But that's okay.
It also had the picture of Raichu, even though it said AAA Anthony, which is also just like even worse.
Someone pressed Control V at the wrong time. They go into game and the guy's ID is guests, and I'm like, what? I'm like,
Yeah.
Anthony.
What is our reality anymore?
He just plays like on every team that's missing a player.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go.
He's the guest man, right? He's guest 10953, right? So
We
he plays
see
everywhere.
a Glaive man actually here for MusTang, so maybe they know something that we don't.
It's kind of interesting. It does say that Pikachu's main hero is Glaive and nothing else, so probably a targeted ban towards him. And they're actually going to pick up Fortress here instead of Glaive.
Yeah, it's gonna be Fortress, Celeste, and of course Arden. And we're gonna see Arden. Ringo is locked in, our first Ringo, and Zarks is gonna be playing Taka, or excuse me, Koshka as usual.
That's crazy because Wong was a big carry on Koshka, and now they're letting Zarks play him. They're switching it up. This is intense. MusTang is like this all-around amazing team. We'll see what they're able to do with it.
I'm also curious to see how Delta performs here. You know, bringing a not super unoriginal composition here. I mean, we have seen Fortress played just yesterday in multiple games. It was mostly ETWs playing it, I believe, and once IDO as well. But yeah, let's see how this one plays out. It's going to be Wong this time coming in on Ringo. So he's going to be actually laning, so a bit of a swap here. It doesn't make much sense to me, considering how well they played opposite roles last game, you would think it would be incredibly difficult for two different players to play opposite roles and switch them within like 15 minutes of each other going to another series.
That's what you would think, but I suppose these guys have other thoughts about what they can play and what they're comfortable with.
Keep in mind also, TVT banned Ringo, and this time they actually have the opportunity, so maybe they know something we don't about Wong's Ringo skill.
That's definitely a good point, actually. That makes a lot of sense now that I think about it. You know, maybe Wong's a great Koshka player, but he's an even better Ringo player.
Yeah.
And that would be insane if that's actually the case, because he was the best Koshka we've seen all tournaments.
Now, notice that they went for a bit of a gank on Ringo, but because they did this, Zarks and Susu just were able to take safe jungle farm to the south, and now they can actually go and get their left jungle farm a lot faster, which means their side of the jungle is going to reset quicker, and they're overall in a better position when it comes to jungle farm. And you can see, I mean, they're already 200 gold ahead, much faster, and Wong is just sitting in lane, getting all that free farm, and he didn't have any problems deflecting that gank attempt. So already a pretty slight lead for MusTang.
A very small one, but it's pretty cool anyway. It's not bad. They're going to get very far ahead in terms of the next wave of jungle minions, which I think is the bigger thing here. They can really set up their position, get some forward scout traps, clear the other scout traps, and even go for a gank if they so please. I don't think it's the best ganking duo here from the jungle, but maybe they could put on some pressure while they have some time.
Yeah. I see Zark's actually jumping here on Raichu, and Raichu's taking a ton of damage, and I think it's actually going to go down. There's that first kill for Ringo, making sure he gets it so he can actually continue to be farmed as well, and very nicely done.
Yeah, Casticers, man. I say they're not a good ganking duo, and even though Celeste sees them, she's not in the best position, and she just gets ganked out. Look at this. Gonna go for a bit of a counter gank here.
Man.
Fortress jumping in.
And I don't think it's going to be the right choice. Definitely going to take a bad trade here. I think Hope should be able to escape. And also Raichu is coming back to the lane, but again, they push the lane, and Zarks and Susu now actually might even be able to come and take some of these, weaker south minions. I don't know their technical name. You know what I'm talking about? Like
Smalls,
the Smalls, yeah. Oh, they're actually going to try to invade here. This is really smart. Jumping in on top. Susu a little bit far behind, but Zarks obviously with Koshka can do a lot of damage alone.
Koshka is one of the better 1v2 jungle heroes, and with both of these guys very low, they can just jump in. And look at this, Hope is getting so low. They do not want to dive that turret though, but they are putting on a bunch of pressure in this jungle.
Pulling Raichu out of lane as well. It takes a ton of scout trap damage there. And they're actually going to go for Hope again, and I think this time they're going to get it. There they do, and Zarks can actually just back away now. Arden can protect him. Scout trap to help the retreat.
He actually jumps back in, gets a little bit of extra damage. And all the while, Ringo is in the lane getting some farm, allowing a bunch of his minions to die, so he's denying farm from Celeste. And now Raichu very low. Can't, he's going to try to go back to lane with some of these potions, but Wong is going to have a great position on him here in the lane.
Wong just pushing this lane down now, just taking so much extra farm. Looking at it right now, 40 to 29, so already, and actually even now a 14 CS lead, at 43 to 29. Without that mistake from Zarks, they'd be even further ahead. But even still now going to move down into the shop area. It's funny, we saw earlier with those Smalls I was talking about, I kind of missed my point because I made fun of myself for not remembering what they were called. They were trying to go and they knew the timing for the Smalls to be taken, but they weren't actually because the jungle was so late for Delta. And this is just kind of starting to be a bit of a worrying trend as they're just behind in farm. They're behind just slightly in every move they make, which allows MusTang to kind of keep this tempo advantage going.
Look at all of them. Koshka, Zarks just jumping in, getting that twirl on all three of them. And from there, they can just follow it up.
Oh man, Raichu getting very, very low, but does have the protection of that turret. Zark's getting very low and will actually go down diving a bit too deep there. And even with Susu trying to punch Pikachu there, it was a very nice disengage, and they will pick up one kill here for free. Obviously, all of them are low, but definitely taking a scary situation, turning it into a better one based off of MusTang's over-eagerness there to go for those kills.
Yeah, they had a decent opportunity to pick up maybe one kill, but I think Zark's just getting a little bit too ahead of himself, especially before level 6. You have no reliable way to lock anyone down. You have a couple slows, but that's about it. And it's not really going to hurt them all too much at the end of the day. They are still ahead 1,000 gold here, but regardless, they do still have a lot of pressure in the lane, and wouldn't be surprised if they're thinking about that gold mine, especially with the absence of the jungle heroes of Delta.
Yeah. You know, it just seems like Zarx is not playing the same level of Koshka we saw from Wong, which is, you know, it's fine. It's just looking at Wong and lane as well. He's just like playing so well with Ringo. It's just a scary human, man. He's a scary player.
Yeah,
and
I guess you could call him that.
I'm
yeah.
terrified of him. Look at him.
Yeah.
Hitting level 6 now as well. Gonna have that extra, you know, ranged burst damage with a little bit of burn.
He's definitely the star player for this team, but I have to say the other two are also very solid. You know, just in general, Zarx was that very solid laner, and Susu just always hitting those great gauntlets. I mean, Arden, to be honest, is not the hardest hero to play in the world, in the game, I should say, but still doing a really good job with Arden's kit.
Taking a look here, they're actually going to go for a very risky gold mine. They think they can burst it down in time. We might see an attempted steal. Does not actually succeed. We actually see a lockdown here on Pikachu with that Koshka ult, and Hope is getting very, very low. There's actually a lockdown on Hope, not Pikachu, excuse me. Hope will get killed by that ult. At the very least, we do see a Solar Storm come across the map, but will not change the outcome of this battle.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be a free kill on top of that gold mine.
Kind of a waste of the Solar Storm as well. They really would have wanted to save that and try to go for a decent team fight, maybe catch out one of the other members here before they get too far ahead, but now they have to wait another 80 seconds, which is going to be a big deal here. Allow that gold mine to get really far along.
Looks like they might even take the minion mine. Nope, just going to walk away and let it go. Yeah, as you can see, Wong in lane here having some trouble against. Finally, we're starting to see some really nice heliogenesis from Raichu. Get my Pokemon confused here for a second.
Yeah, that's Pichu in the bush, waiting for that gank. And here comes Koshka doing a bunch of damage. Really nice core collapse, though.
Yeah, core collapse saving him big time there, and allowing them to disengage. Even though it's 2v3, just so much damage potential here with these two heroes together. And once Susu rejoins the battle, things can get out of control. She is currently going to the shop. We'll probably buy some scout traps to toss down as well to continue maintaining vision. If you look at the mini-map, you can see at every bush location, she has already planted a scout trap, so even has scout traps in the opponent's jungle, so she knows exactly when they're taking it. Like right now, for example, you can see it right here.
It
Even
actually
steals it.
Yeah, it steals it and does a bit of damage. Gains so much vision. Those are the best scout traps to put down, to be honest. You could get so much vision of when exactly they're doing camps, and you can take advantage of it. As long as you have like a coordinated team, which you always will in tournaments like this. It's different from solo queue.
It just gives you such a larger view of what your opponent is doing. And if you get that lucky kill with the scout trap, it almost pays for itself, so that's really cool. We're gonna see Zarx jump in here for an initial engagement. All three ultimates are up for both teams now, including the Solar Storm, which was down for so long. A better position here overall for MusTang, but one simple gauntlet could change that. Notice that they keep themselves very spread here because they don't want to get gauntleted under that turret and under the Solar Storm.
Yeah. I don't think there's any real reason to put on like a huge amount of pressure. They definitely don't have to be diving any turrets at this point in the game. It's still very early. But I would say that Celeste overall is going to be slightly better in that late game, unless Ringo can hit like 6 items. It's a different story. Of course, it gets very, very powerful. But yeah, I think they just have to be careful, continue with their lead, do exactly what Susu's doing, as you pointed out. There's like a million scout traps everywhere. She can afford it. And the other important part of this is that you can keep on pressure in the jungle, that you're not just sitting back in your own jungle farming, but rather doing exactly what they're doing here.
Yep, just forcing, engagements because they're stealing all the farm. Oh man, here comes Wong, and this could get nasty, especially if he grabs Hope here. Hope taking a little bit more damage. Koshka's ult is still available. Ends up being a bit of a wasted Ringo ult, unfortunately. If Koshka had grabbed that ult, that would have been able to take Hope out for sure. Or even Pikachu, if Pikachu was up a little bit further.
I guess they're just pushing them out. You can see that Pikachu just has to go back home because he simply does not have enough health to really challenge anything. And so far, I've been, very, very impressed by the play of MusTang so far today. I think they're definitely like the first team out of every team we've seen that can actually stand up to DMG and even really take games.
Yeah. Well, give Easy to win some credit. I mean, they did win one game.
Yeah, they were able to take one.
But yeah, I mean, this team starts to look a little bit better, and one of those teams that really starts to scare me. Like, I see their tactics, I see the way they move. It gives me chills, like you said before. It's, again, not really much of a poke composition that MusTang has here, so it's hard to actually siege up this turret and push it down, especially with how they're building here. Again, they're just going to further their lead, taking it now about a 4,000 gold lead. Gauntlet does go down here, but with a good reflex block from Wong, it's not going to matter. There's the gold mine collection as well.
Total waste of a gauntlet. You know, they were trying to force a fight, I suppose, in order to try to grab that gold mine, but first of all, it was too late if they were going to go for it right after the fight. Second of all, I mean, with Ringo with the reflex block, if you have no follow-up and he's that far on the edge, it's very easy for him to just run away. Susu made a mistake of even jumping in, but even she was able to get out, as just not enough DPS on the side of Delta just yet.
Yeah.
And now they're not going to have that gauntlet for a very long time, which allows MusTang to put on even more pressure.
I think they're actually going to take the lane line now because they've been struggling to push the lane down this entire time, and now they get that extra gold, and they can push this lane down and really sort of put more aggressive pressure on the turret. They're actually going to come through the bush here and engage for a fight. Raichu taking half of his health and damage. A really good gauntlet here as well to stun Hope. Raichu is going to get taken out in seconds. And now it's just going to be a 3v2 fight. Even under turret, they should be able to take out Pikachu. Oh! I'm going to grab Pikachu there at the last second there.
Yeah.
And now could just push this turret down.
It's pretty unbelievable. They force a Raichu to use his reflex block on the Celeste without even using Koshka's ult. He didn't even have enough energy for it. You know, generally you want to save it so you don't get stunned for a really long time, but it just didn't matter. They're far enough ahead at this point, up 7k gold, that they could just burst them down on their turret, and it doesn't matter.
And look at the scout trap placement again. It's like unlimited scout traps. I can't see the ground. Look at the mini-map. It's insane. The coverage is... It's crazy.
Yeah, well, we thought that maybe TVT was going to have a chance against MusTang, but so far what we've seen from Delta, not the strongest game overall. No IDO, you know, they're not running in and dying over and over, but they're, I don't think they're the team to really stand up to MusTang just yet. Yeah. It's going to be very interesting to see MusTang versus CNL. I said at the beginning of the cast, CNL is probably, from what we have in terms of information, probably the best team in the group. But who knows? I mean, MusTang is also a fantastic one.
Yeah. We saw the scores up there just briefly, the observer showing the item builds as well, but notice Fortress is the one who has the 2 kills for Delta, which further exacerbates their situation because you don't want Fortress to be the one who's getting all that extra gold. All right, we're going to see another engage here. Let's see if this time we actually see that Koshka ult. 4 seconds left on Ringo and 10 seconds left for their gauntlet for MusTang. They're just trying to poke here. And with both mini mines under their control, eventually, you know, the turrets will fall. So this is really the onus is on Delta right now to try to stop this. And look at this, Darks jumps in on Raichu again without using his ult once more. Gauntlets on both sides, a really nice Solar Storm, but it's not going to matter. Down goes Raichu, and the rest will fall as well. Zarks goes down first, though. That turret is putting on a ton of extra damage, and MusTang will actually lose this fight. I totally miscalled that.
And there you go. That's going to be an ace for Delta. You know, we saw it before, a little bit of overconfidence, but there as well, they were fighting with that turret for so long, and every shot that it does a bit more damage, and that's not what you want to be doing at this point in the game. When you have this big of a lead, you don't really need to force fights like that.
Yeah, we saw, I think it was Zarks, actually, who had the first-person view up on the left side, like, take his hands off the tablet after that fight, almost like, oh, man, we really messed that up.
Yeah. Well, they still have a pretty sizable lead here, still over 5,000 gold. Just have to hope that they don't make any more mistakes like that. You don't want to let Fortress get too farmed up. It can also be a pretty brutal late game carry as well as having that Celeste in the back. So
it also can sometimes be insanely tanky and basically impossible to kill depending on how you build them. But building an Aegis now, as you can see, so not going for damage per se just yet. The Kraken will give them that tiny gold payout as we do hit 15 minutes. And MusTang is kind of preparing here to take it. There's so much scout trap coverage that there's just no way any approach will happen without them knowing. Even still, it is kind of risky to try to take this right after it spawns without anyone being down. And they are going to jump into another fight, jumping on Hope this time.
Yeah, they could go for a fight here. I think they are pretty far ahead, and they are away from the turrets, that if they did want to, they could force it. I think they're just waiting for a better opportunity. Again, no need to force the fight, you know. They didn't have any gigantic advantage going into that, as all 3 members of Delta were grouped up and ready to fight.
Yeah. All right, Zarx is going to run in here and drop down some of that damage. Just poking, essentially, jumping in, dropping the B in the back. Raichu taking a lot of damage yet again, but consistently able to escape when Zarx jumps on him, which is important. But I think Zarx also somebody who's being a bit too shy with using his ult. Okay, he's taking a lot of damage here, and again, fighting under turret, not going to do what they want to do. As Solar Storm connects to multiple players, but there's that ult we were looking for, as well as the Gauntlet. But they were already, you know, taking a lot of damage. The Gauntlet doesn't do much for them there at all, and it's going to be yet another ace.
Yeah, that was another pretty brutal team fight, and they're essentially lobbing this game right back into the hands of Delta. Not exactly sure how or why this happened outside of those very 2 poor team fights for MusTang.
I feel like Zarx is waiting too long for his Koshka ults in some of these fights. He's hesitating a while.
It's like they're trying to bait out something for a really long time.
Yeah, and then that Gauntlet was totally useless because all 6 members were in that sphere, so the stun wasn't going to do anything for them. It wasn't doing any zoning. It wasn't getting any stuns. It wasn't forcing any reflex blocks. It was just kind of like an outline for the battle. No one was touching it.
It's the arena, essentially. That's what the Gauntlet was. And now, only a 1,000 gold lead to MusTang. So this game is very much even at this point. And Koshka, we said it before, more of an early to mid-game hero. As it gets later, you know, still has a presence, still has that very strong ultimate ability, and has great chase potential, but not going to be as bruisey or as much of a threat, I think, as that Fortress as we go later and later.
Yeah. Just watching all those scout traps get blown up feels like money is burning as well. As that's finally cleared, it's a little bit tougher to actually replace those for Susu. As, you know, placing them slowly over time here and there over the course of the game is much easier than buying a ton of them at once and replacing all of them, especially when you have to buy those important items here now at the late game. But still some decent coverage and a gold lead yet still for MusTang, but I feel like one more mistake could start to swing things into Delta's favor finally.
Yeah, for sure. And you notice that MusTang is just sitting back, playing very defensive and safe at this point. I think they know they kind of screwed up their lead. They're like, oh, we gotta, you know, take our hands off the iPad and just, you know, think about this for a second. You know, what are we doing wrong? Why is this happening the way it is? And you know, they really have to rethink the way they're engaging these fights.
All right, right now as Delta tries to set up for a potential engagement at the Kraken here, actually even take some of this farm. Mini mines currently split 1 apiece, so even in the lane. Slight better push here for Delta.
A lot of infusions bought up by the team Delta. They have double infusion for Pikachu, not yet used, he's waiting, but crystal infusions for both Hope and Raichu. So it seems like they definitely want to take a fight here very, very soon. Only Ringo on the opposite side does have an infusion, and that's the weapon infusion.
Yeah. This is going to be very helpful for him, but it's overall a better infusion set for Delta. All right, we're going to see that fight occur right now. Susu dropping down a really nice gauntlet this time. We'll see if it can actually work. No core collapse here, but a decent Solar Storm. And the fight still going in Delta's favor with all those infusions. You can see the damage is starting to stack up. Susu on the retreat here and will be killed by another Heliogenesis. And we're seeing another crazy comeback here. Wong should be able to escape pretty easily. He needs to make sure he doesn't go too far with those pokes. But not an ace, because the game will go on a bit longer.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to the Koshka ult of MusTang. I think it got canceled at some point. I didn't see that go down, but Koshka essentially did nothing there and took way too much damage. Is not tanky enough, looking at her build right now. She's got an Aegis, but that's about it. Has Aftershock and a Broken Myth instead, so going heavy damage, but at this point in the game, she's just getting burst down too easily, and it's not a big threat in these team fights.
Yeah. Glass cannon getting shattered. Well, everyone's back up and online now. Delta not going to take this opportunity to try to contest Kraken. They're going to start finishing up Celeste's build here for crystal damage.
Yeah, also a lot of shield being built here on Raichu. That's Celeste very scared about Koshka. That's the other reason why, you know, Koshka's jumping in. The strategy was to burst down Celeste as soon as possible, but now she can't burst her down because she has too much tankiness.
They're taking a lot of damage here, though, and Zarx is trying to get on top of Raichu. Nice zoning here with that Gauntlet. They do jump on top of Raichu, but he's just able to kite back. Susu also taking a lot of damage. Very, very low. Looks like Zarx is just on the chase here for Raichu. Hope barely staying alive here, but look at Wong. He's actually finally able to freely do that auto attack damage, and down goes Koshka. Wong needs to actually get in there, but Pikachu's zoning is too strong. If he could just auto once or twice more on Hope and Raichu, he'd kill them, but he can't, and there's the ace.
Yeah, one Heliogenesis to finish it all off. Ringo's doing decent damage in the back, but not able to finish anyone off, and once he gets too close, he just burns down, and that's about it. And there you go, that's gonna be game. Delta gonna take down MusTang in what I would call an upset. I mean, MusTang nearly threw this game away.
Yeah, it was definitely, well, we'll talk about all the details, I guess, after this finishes up, but you know, here goes down the Vein Crystal. It is gonna be a win here for Delta. They're gonna take that first win in their first game of this tournament.
Yeah, that'll